Let's talk about something that drives a lot of business owners crazy: getting an insurance quote. You need a price, you ask for it, and you expect a quick answer, but it's almost never instant. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down what's really happening behind the scenes and why that wait is actually a good thing for your business.
I mean, we live in a world where you can buy almost anything with a single click, right? So when you go to get a quote for your business, it's totally natural to wonder, hey, what's the holdup here? And you're right to ask. The answer tells you a lot about what insurance really is. It's not just a product, it's a promise.
And this slide, this just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? On the left, that's what we all expect. Click, boom, done. A simple transaction. But the reality, over on the right, is a whole different story. It's about detailed questions and a process that takes days, sometimes longer. So why can't you get a quote for your manufacturing plant in just a day or two? To get that, we have to start at the beginning. That very first step in the process, it's not a roadblock. Think of it more like a fact-finding mission. When you talk to a broker or an agent, they're basically becoming the first biographer of your business. They have to understand your story before they can go out and tell it to anyone else. And honestly, these questions are just scratching the surface. Every single one of them, from how long you've been around to what your revenue looks like, helps build a really detailed picture of your operation. And it's not about them being nosy, not at all. It's all about figuring out the unique risks and, the strengths of what you do. This information is the foundation for everything else that's going to happen. Okay, so once your broker has your story all mapped out, they take it to the ultimate decision maker, the underwriter. Now, this is the person at the insurance company who looks at all that information, analyzes the risk, and decides if they'll offer you coverage and for how much. Their job is to dig deep and really understand what's at stake. This chart breaks it down perfectly. It shows why some quotes are way faster than others. If you have a pretty simple risk, say a small law office, it's a fairly straightforward profile. That can get turned around pretty quick. But a complex risk, like a company that manufactures industrial pipes, whoa, that's a whole different ballgame. The underwriter needs way more time and a ton more detail to really wrap their head around it. This quote right here gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Before an underwriter even thinks about giving you a price, they need to know exactly what's going on. They need a complete, totally accurate picture of the risk they're being asked to cover. They're not just crunching numbers. They're entering into a massive financial agreement, and they have to feel confident they know your business inside and out. So right about now, you might be thinking, okay, that makes sense for a new policy, but I've been with my carrier for years. Why are they still asking me all these questions? And that is a totally fair point. But here's the thing. Just because it's a renewal doesn't mean you get a free pass from underwriting. Your business isn't static, and your insurance policy shouldn't be either. Think about it. Your business changes every single year. Maybe your payroll went up, or your sales figures look different. An underwriter needs to know why. Did you expand? Did you launch a new product? These changes directly affect your risk, and the underwriter's job is to make sure your coverage is still the right fit for the business you are today. Okay, let's talk about timing, because this is a big one. It's pretty common for a business owner whose policy renews in, say, September, to start asking for their new quote back in May. And hey, being proactive is great, but the insurance world runs on a very specific calendar, and it helps to know how it works. This timeline shows you the industry standard, the 90-day renewal window. At 90 days before your renewal, the underwriter starts the review. Then, around 60 days out, they're deep into gathering information and really digging in. All of that work leads up to getting you a finalized quote about 30 days out, so it's ready to go on your renewal date.
And this is probably the most important thing to remember about that timeline. The 90-day mark is when the work starts. It's the starting pistol, not the finish line. It doesn't mean your quote is going to be ready on day 89 or even day 61. It's the beginning of a process, and understanding that can save you a whole lot of frustration.
All right, let's bring this all home. The big takeaway here is that we need to kind of reframe how we think about this whole thing. Getting a business insurance quote isn't like grabbing a product off a shelf. It's about engaging in a careful process, a process designed to make sure your business is properly protected. So, what can you do to make this process go as smoothly as possible? Well, it really boils down to three things. First, as you see here, tell your full story. Give your broker all the details. Be accurate. The more they have, the better. Second, respect the timeline. Now you know that underwriting takes 60 to 90 days for a really good reason. And finally, build a partnership. Your agent is your guide through this, so work with them to get the best coverage you possibly can. Ultimately, all of this leads to one last really important question you should ask yourself. Are you just looking to buy a commodity, something fast and cheap? Or are you looking to build a partnership that's going to truly protect this amazing business that you've worked so hard to create? The answer to that question, it changes everything.